Good afternoon, scholars. I'm Sister Johnson. I would like to welcome you to our read aloud. For the next hour, we will go over vocabulary. I will read you a story, and then you complete a graphic organizer based on what you read. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to start with today's vocabulary. So for our book today, which is called Layla's Happiness, we have one vocabulary word that we need to know. That vocabulary word is community. Community is a group of people living in the same place or sharing something in common. Okay? A group of people living in the same place or sharing something in common. Another word for community is your neighborhood. Let's look at an example sentence. The children play at the community playground. If we use this sentence, that means that the children live together in the same neighborhood and that their playground is located in their neighborhood. The children play at the community playground. I want you to keep this word in mind as you complete your graphic organizer today. Yeba? Yeba. All right, so let's read. Let's take a look at our book. We're going to look at the front cover first. The title of our book today is called Layla's Happiness. The author who writes the story, her name is Mariahadessa Tallie, and the illustrator, the person who draws the pictures inside of the book, her name is Ashley Corinne. So I want you to take about 15 seconds to just notice the details of the front cover. Look at this young lady here. What do we think her name is? Who do we think she is? Look at what she's doing. Let's look at the back of the book. Notice the details there. And now, for the next 5 minutes, I want you to use your graphic organizer to write down a prediction. I'm going to set this book here. Let's look at our graphic organizer and where you should complete your prediction. So if you turn to your literacy packet, you'll find your graphic organizer that's titled Layla's Happiness. And on here is where you find your lesson vocabulary, but then it says predictions. You are going to take the next 5 minutes. You're going to pause Sister Johnson, pause this video. You're going to ask whoever's working with you to time you for 5 minutes. For that 5 minutes, you're going to answer the question, what do you predict the story will be about based on the title, Layla's Happiness, and the front and back cover? Okay? So I showed you the book. The title is Layla's Happiness. Now I would like for you to pause this video, write down your prediction, and then you'll push play and we'll get into the story. All right, scholars, so hopefully you paused the video, you wrote down your prediction. Now we're going to get into our reading. All right. Layla's Happiness. My name is Layla, and I am 7 years old. Layla means night's beauty, and I love the night. The dark sky is pretty. It's the color of dark purple plums. Those plums look yummy. And the full moon, well, it's my favorite. It sits in the sky like a wish flower's sister. If I could reach the moon, I'd blow on it and wish to play the trumpet well without ever having to practice. I think happiness is climbing a tree. Or wearing purple. Or eating spaghetti without a fork. It's my dad when he talks about growing up in South Carolina. See her father? And my mom when she reads me poetry. Happiness is planting a tomato seed and watching it grow in my favorite place, the community garden down the block. There's that vocabulary word, community. In the garden, I can dance with a ladybug on my finger. See butterflies and chase my friend Juan. I can feed chickens and give all the trees names. I can even pick vegetables to sell at our farmer's market. Here's an illustration of the farmer's market. I think happiness is hearing Juan's parents laugh after they dance salsa under the magnolia tree. And when the sea reaches into her pocket to give me a sand dollar. I think happiness is showing my mom the outer space flowers in my kaleidoscope. That's what I think. Do you think so too? What is happiness to you? The end. Yay! I love that story, and I love the illustrations too. All right, scholars, I hope that you enjoyed the story as well. Before I go, I'm going to go through your graphic organizer, give you all the instructions you need to complete it. Yay, Bo? Okay. All right, so you can return back to your graphic organizer to the front page. You've already completed your predictions. Now you're going to move on to answering questions within the text. All right, so number 1 says, in Layla's happiness, Layla uses comparing to describe how various things are alike. What does Layla compare the following to? The dark sky is compared to blank. That's when you're going to go back into the story. You're going to find your text evidence. You're going to write down what Layla compares the dark sky to. The second bullet point says, the full moon is compared to blank. You'll also go back and find text evidence and write down what Layla compares the full moon to. Then you're going to move on to question number 2 and go on a happiness hunt. You're going to list 3 things that Layla describes as happiness in the text. Once you're finished that, you'll move on to number 3. What is one thing that you have in common with Layla? So think about what Layla likes to do or who Layla is, and you're going to write down one thing that you two share. The back of your graphic organizer continues with within the text questions. Number 4 says, in the text, Layla spends time in her community. Circle the image that shows what Layla does in her community. So I want you to take a closer look at each of the pictures, and I want you to circle the picture that shows what Layla did inside of the story. What does she do in her community? And then you're going to list what else she does, because she does several things. Once you're finished with number 4, you're going to move on to a beyond the text question. You're going to draw an illustration and respond to the prompt. What is happiness to you? Think about what happiness is to you and write it here. And then you can draw an illustration that shows us as well. Yeba? Yeba. All right, scholars. So once you're finished, the last 15 minutes of our literacy hour, which is the last hour of our day, will involve you grabbing a book and participating in Dear Time. So parents, elders, family members, please allow the scholar to choose a book and have him or her read for 15 minutes. Once he or she is done, then they can move on to their liberation work. Their liberation work is to take a picture of their graphic organizer and then upload it to our nation's email. We miss you, we wish you well, and I thank you so much for reading Layla's Happiness with me. I'll see you tomorrow.